What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Matthew Peterson, and on today's show, we've got the latest news and rumors, and some NFL teams might be boring or quiet in the offseason. Not the Cleveland Browns. Never the Cleveland Browns. So we've got a lot to talk about today, and let's start with the biggest story out there right now, which is the Perrion Winfrey situation. Are the Browns going to release Perrion Winfrey? I originally had this as one Bernie head, but I have upped it to two Bernie heads. I think there is some serious smoke and some reasonable thought behind the release of Perrion Winfrey after his misdemeanor assault arrest. Well, not the arrest allegedly, but the assault allegedly. So, why is Perrion Winfrey getting cut, right? The idea has been tossed around all over the place right now. It's hard to even trace it back to its origin. Now, Winfrey, like I stated, was arrested on a misdemeanor assault charge on Monday in Houston, Texas, Harris County. He allegedly caused bodily harm by grabbing his girlfriend with his hand. So could the Browns end up cutting Winfrey, right? That's the question everyone's asking. Before we look at any new details I've got, first things first, let's just get this out in the open. I'm going to call out for an all-out ban on Browns players going to Houston, Texas. It seems to be that nothing good comes from Browns players in Houston, so there's a lot of great cities in the U.S. Pick another one, but no more Houston, please. Can we all agree on that? Now, as for Winfrey, some new details here. The Browns are still gathering information before they make any decisions, and potentially by the time you're watching this, as we are filming this during our live show Thursday afternoon, we might have a decision. But he's currently on a $1,000 bond and has an electronic monitoring device. His court date is set for Tuesday. Now, Mary Kay had a very informative write-up on the new details, and here were some of those details she had. Winfrey and his girlfriend got in an argument over a dog and rental car keys. Not really sure how that leads to an argument, but aside from the point, Perrion Winfrey tried to force her to leave the area they were in with him. She did not want to leave, so he forcibly grabbed her allegedly and tried to make her come with. People in the area intervened, and Winfrey ended up backing off and leaving, I guess. Now, earlier that day, Winfrey kicked in the door of her friend's home, who she was at. So, clearly had a bit of road rage, some anger management going on if he's kicking in doors. He placed a tracking device on her car. Now, I can't say all of these are definitive facts. These are reports coming in from Mary Kay and other witnesses and whatnot, and we've got some levels of he said, she said, and some allegedly going on here, but a lot of bad smoke around the current situation. So, the pinned comment on today's video, should the Browns cut Perrion Winfrey? I didn't think it would get to this point so quickly after I saw the news yesterday of misdemeanor charge. Well, that's not good. Definitely not good, but I don't know if it's going to escalate to him being released. But then you look at some of these details and you wonder, is that the kind of character the Browns want to have in their locker room when there's already so much smoke and heat they get for trading for Deshaun Watson and his history with women allegedly? So do they want to be that kind of team moving forward? They might decide, Winfrey, you're just the wrong guy at the wrong place in this situation. If it's not for all the bad publicity we've already gotten, maybe we would have seen through this, but we can't have two guys on our roster who are allegedly, not having great track records with women. Now, Perrion Winfrey is not the first. This is not the first instance for Perrion Winfrey of some bad publicity. Let's kind of go through his troubling start in the NFL. And I hate to just bring up poor mistakes because he's young. He was a rookie. A lot of people make mistakes their rookie season or their first year out of college. But unfortunately, he's had a bad run of making dumb mistakes. Week 2, he was suspended by the team. We never got a reasoning for it, but violated team rules. Myles Garrett talked with him. He ultimately was suspended. Week 8, healthy scratch. Week 9, a bye. Week 10, healthy scratch. What's going on there? We never really got a clear answer, but when your 4th-round pick is a healthy scratch at a position where you are dog awful at, that's pretty concerning. Week 11, he missed due to a concussion because he hit his head riding a scooter in downtown Cleveland. It's just a long run of immaturity and lack of professionalism from Perrion Winfrey. So all of that, plus these alleged details being true, equals probably getting released, I think, right? Now, I don't know if the Browns are going to see through this and go, well, we gave you strikes 1, which was the healthy scratch or the suspension by the team for some undisclosed reason. Strike 2 was probably being a healthy scratch. Strike 3, I would have thought was the injury, but that's not really a strike. It's an injury. So, hey, we'll kind of give you a foul tip there. But strike 3 might be this one. And that could be you're out. Now, Winfrey last season for the Browns, he wasn't a major contributor, but he definitely improved down the stretch. And the way he ended last season, it felt like he could be an improving player on this defensive line. When you look at the defensive line, I think he's going to be a starter if there was a game tomorrow and all this didn't happen. I think it'd be Tomlinson and Winfrey. Maybe it's Jordan Elliott, but for now, I think we can relatively pencil in Winfrey as being the starter. So with that being said, we're going to talk about some draft plans changing in just a moment here because the Browns might have been looking to attack a defensive, might have been looking to draft a defensive tackle in the mid rounds, but instead this might change with a long-term future with Winfrey in doubt. Now, we're going to talk more about some Browns news and rumors in just a sec, but first, really quickly, on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday show, I talked about how our Steelers channel at Chat Sports picked up 34 new subscribers. I want to see if we could beat them. And I don't know if everyone watching takes that word for word or if you just think I'm making it up out of thin air. But I have real proof that I work and sit across like diagonal from an absolutely incoherent Steelers fan. And all he does is shit talk the Browns. And I want to make him eat his words. Here's what Jack Sperry from Steelers Talk said on his live show on Wednesday. Enjoy.
Browns are terrible. F the Browns, guys. That's what we do here on Steelers Talk. Let's get an F the Browns.
Agree. F the Browns.
F the Browns. F the Browns. F the Browns.
FPD.
FPD. FPD. All right. Browns Report, hosted by Matthew Peterson, got 166 last week on their live stream. And here on Steelers Talk, we just don't lose to the Cleveland Browns. So here's what I'll tell you guys. If we can get up to $167 before the end of this stream, I will get a Browns hat and I will burn it. And I will put it on social media. I'll put it up here on the channel.
And just as we were rolling that clip right there, as we're filming this during our live show on Thursday, we got an $80 super chat from Peter R. Let's throw it on screen, actually, to burn a Steelers hat. So if you hate the Pittsburgh Steelers, if you want to sweep the Squealers next year, sub an F-Pit and shout out to Peter R. for an $80 super chat to burn a Steelers hat. Because you know what? Pittsburgh Steelers Talk by Chat Sports started the battle yesterday, but we are ending it today, and it is an overwhelming Browns victory, almost if not just as bad for them as the playoff game in 2020. Peter, thank you so much. Let's go Browns. Fuck the Steelers. Moving on to our second story on the show. Are the Browns renaming FirstEnergy Stadium? For Bernie heads, it's not a rumor now. It is a done deal. The Browns themselves announced on Twitter that they will no longer be going by FirstEnergy Stadium at their home place. So, Cleveland Browns and FirstEnergy mutually agreed to end stadium naming rights agreement. Our home stadium will return to its former name, Cleveland Browns Stadium. So, a beautiful look at the Cleveland Browns Stadium. I hope they rename it somewhat soon. It doesn't have to be a new name for 2023. I mean, I'm open to all ideas right now. So if you've got one, let me know. The only pushback I'll get to in just a second is on the idea of doing the dog pound, and I'll tell you why. But I don't know. What about the Cleveland Browns football ground? Browns football grounds. Got the Polo grounds? I don't know. There's a lot of businesses based in Ohio. Like, I don't think Kroger makes a ton of sense. That works more for Cincinnati. But, you know, Sherwin-Williams? Maybe. You've already got Progressive, Nationwide, potentially. So we'll see what happens. The only thought I have is I think there's going to be a lot of people who comment, the dog pound, right? The dog house or something like that. Can you really name it the dog pound if there's a dog pound inside of it already? Right? You've got the dog pound in the end zone. with it, maybe call the dog house, but I don't think the Browns are going to lean that far into the Browns, like the dog shtick for this team. So it would be pretty cool, but I don't think that's likely. Now, moving on to our third and final story, just kind of combing over some free agency buzz out there. Are the Browns adding a veteran edge rusher? I'm going to give it 2 Bernie heads, but really it's like 1.75, and I just got to round up here. So there's been some talk in this new Perrion Winfrey situation might, pick up some steam around the idea of the Browns adding another defensive lineman. So Cleveland.com came out with a list of 3 edge rushers that the Browns could look to add. Justin Houston, longtime Chief on that list. Carlos Dunlap, longtime Cincinnati Bengal. Then Melvin Ingram, longtime San Diego Charger. And I guess LA Charger briefly too, were the 3 guys they identified. Now, when you look at their stats from last year, does anything jump out to you? How about Justin Houston getting 9.5 sacks last season at 33 years old for Baltimore? So now when we look at this Browns defensive line room, specifically at the edge rushers, you feel pretty good about Myles Garrett and Obo Okoronkwo. And Alex Wright, he was bad last year if we're just calling a spade, but there's no reason to believe he can't improve in year 2. Isaiah Thomas showed a lot of promise in the preseason. So if I had to pick one of those 3 guys, I think I got to go with Justin Houston, right? It's coming off a 9.5 sack season. You add him into the rotation where it's, hey, we know you're up in the age column, so we're not going to call on you on 1st and 10 from their own 20. But can you come in on 3rd and 9 for obvious passing situations and just get after the quarterback a couple times a game and get us 5, 6, 7 sacks? Seems pretty good to me. So be the GM. Should the Browns sign an edge rusher? S for sign or P for pass? Do you want to keep the room where it is right now, or do you think they should add another player to it?